Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I'm Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, we've got to start your week out right because it is Monday morning, and this is an episode of the Bullet Points. So when I was preparing the video this morning, I was doing the research, and I ran across an article in CNN, which we're going to cover today, and it's in the description box. This is all about praising the Gun Violence Archive. Now, if you've been a viewer of the channel, a subscriber of the channel for a while, you'll know that the Gun Violence Archive is a manipulated source that is manipulated by the mainstream media to make it seem worse than it is around gun violence in America. That's their own term, right? That's what we're going to dive into because they did an expose on Gun Violence Archive, and the entire thing was just shown for exactly what it is, and that is what I want to walk you through because it should not be used as a source. And according to this CNN report, it shows you why. Now, everything like I said is going to be linked in the description box below. I cannot wait to hear what you guys think in the comments. I'm going to do a quick read from a new sponsor this week, LAS Concealment, and then we're going to hit it, and I cannot wait to expose Gun Violence Archive for exactly what it is with you guys. Now, if you're in the market for a holster for your favorite freedom tool, then you need to check out LAS Concealment. With LAS Concealment, you get a custom piece of equipment molded specifically for your personal choice of freedom. Made from Kydex and designed to keep you comfortable and safe in your day-to-day activities. With custom designs, IWB and OWB, and multiple design options, they have what you may be looking for. Check them out in the description box below, and thank you so much to LAS Concealment for sponsoring this week's videos. But now, brothers and sisters, we have got to dive into the Gun Violence Archive because while they're trying to put credit on it, it shows it for exactly what it is, a manipulated source. Let's get it. How a tiny nonprofit with no full-time employees became the foremost tracker of gun violence in America. By CNN yesterday. Well, let's get in here because I'm going to show you exactly what they're about, and this is going to unravel the whole thing. Not the organization, but at least the credibility so you guys know what's up. CNN. In the Supreme Court decision overturning a New York gun law, talking about the Bruen case, the three liberal justices opened their dissent by citing data from two of the leading researchers of gun violence in America. The first was the CDC, and the second was the Gun Violence Archive. Quote, since the start of this year, 2022, there have been 277 reported mass shootings, an average of more than one a day. See Gun Violence Archive, Justice Stephen Breyer wrote in June in the opening paragraph. Again, I'm going to pose the same question I always do to you guys about Gun Violence Archive. Do you remember 277 mass shootings? No, you don't, because they don't exist. They are reframing crime, as which we're going to walk you through because they actually show their methodology. This is crazy town, but it needs to be said, so we're going to do an entire video on it. The dissent was just the latest example of the growing influence of the Gun Violence Archive. A tiny nonprofit that has less than a decade attempted to log every single incident of gun violence in U.S. in the real time. The organization has been cited by the Supreme Court, policymakers, and the media outlets like CNN, primarily for its ongoing tally of mass shootings, which it defines as any incident in which 4 people are shot excluding the shooter. That includes crime, gang activity, drug activity, all the things. There is no criteria in Gun Violence Archive. It's just, if you've got 10 people and they all shoot at each other, where 4 more people are shot, mass shooting. It's completely ignoring key details around the incidents that they cover, but they view it as, oh, mass shooting. Look at the big problem we have. For example, this is from the CNN article. What you're seeing right now is a graph they actually put in the article that shows you how many mass shootings in the United States. Question for you guys. Do you remember 693 mass shootings last year? I don't either. The year before, 611? It's almost like they're reclassifying crime as a mass shooting to achieve a goal. You don't believe me? Wait till I show you who founded it. But let's keep going. That is the bare bones organization, informs the highest levels of power, underscores the startling lack of timely, standardized data on American gun violence. The FBI collects data on aggravated assaults and murders, and the CDC collects data on the total deaths from firearms. Yet both release that information months, if not years, after the fact, making it difficult to understand new trends or determine the impact of legislation or policies, or because they're government-funded agencies and they have to be actually factually correct, not a tiny nonprofit with no employees, they actually have to go through and classify it from aggravated assaults and murders, which would make it not a mass shooting, or on the CDC's perspective, total deaths from firearms. All these data points are sifted into different categories for a reason. The Gun Violence Archive completely does away with that categorization and just says, were 4 bodies hit with 4 bullets. Mass shooting. Check it out. And this is where you got to look at where the roots come from. Check this out. The Gun Violence Archive grew out of an interactive project by Slate magazine that was launched as a provocation. Launched as a provocation to get more data, to give more ammunition, so to speak, to gun controllers by Slate magazine. Far left. You cannot get more left than Slate magazine. Okay, so the roots are hardcore left. Let's see what else they do. About 20 people work under Bryant's direction. This is the guy who runs it. But there are no full-time employees. All of the workers are paid as independent contractors, Bryant said. They live across the world and come from a variety of backgrounds, but over half are librarians, he said. The Gun Violence Archive receives the most skepticism for its broad definition of mass shootings, which is what I'm doing right now, as any incident with 4 or more people shot, excluding the shooter. The FBI defines mass murder as the murder of 4 or more people and tracks active shooter incidents, but there is no federal or agreed upon definition for a mass shooting. So there's no federal, there's no state, there's no government entity that defines and agrees with Gun Violence Archive, and yet CNN cites them, Supreme Court justices cite them. It's almost like it was built from the left for talking points against gun rights. Almost, isn't it? Like I said, I can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comments field. But let's keep going, because here are the criticisms and wait till you hear the response. The Second Amendment Foundation, a non-profit gun rights group, has criticized the Gun Violence Archive's expansive definition of the term as sensational and misleading. It is both sensational and misleading. It is a complete fabrication to further gun control through the media and repetition. That's exactly what they do. But check this out. Quote, when most Americans hear the term mass shooting, they picture a crazed gunman stalking the halls of a school or a shopping mall, coldly and randomly executing innocent young victims, the foundation wrote. Quote, what does not come to mind are rival drug crews shooting it out in Chicago or Detroit, or a madman murdering his entire family. Exactly correct, but listen to how the Gun Violence Archive responds to that criticism. Bryant, again, the guy who runs it, calls the criticism essentially irrelevant. Quote, my answer on that is, the same number of people are shot, whether you call it a mass shooting or whether you call it a shooting that 4 people or more were shot, Bryant said. But they just don't like it when the term mass shooting is used. Some don't like that. So, it doesn't matter. The person who runs Gun Violence Archive goes, no, the criteria doesn't matter. 4 more people were shot. 2 different gangs were fighting over gang turf. Doesn't matter. 4 people were shot. That's a mass shooting. You understand that this has gone all the way in from the left to CNN, to the Supreme Court, to every single mainstream media outlet because it's a talking point against gun rights. This is a manipulation that started on Slate, far left magazine, and is now infiltrated all the way to the Supreme Court because they don't do their own research and rely on government statistics and government data. They go to a nonprofit which is outside and influenced by the far left. And that's what I've got for you guys. That's why Gun Violence Archive should never be used as any kind of source. And if someone brings it up, now you know how to refute it. That's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think, and I will see you tonight at the 9 p.m. segment. I'm Braden. See you later.